do they work, and how can you use them to improve your trading? Here we go. So the reason you're going to want to use hotkeys is because it allows you to enter and exit your orders much faster. What I mean by that is when I trade a stock, I have to pull up the order entry, I have to set the ticker, I have to set the price that I want to buy at, and I set the quantity. I then have to click on send, and I actually have to confirm that trade, meaning it takes 3, 4, 5 different clicks for me to actually execute that trade. What hotkeys allow you to do is to put all of that information down into one button so that if you want to get into that trade, you click on hotkey number 1 and you're automatically in. You don't have to go through a bunch of different steps. Now this is great because it allows you to get in and out very easily and very fast, but you need to be very careful not to bump into those keys as well. So let's get into my keyboard now and the software that comes with it. Okay, so I keep it really simple. As you can see, I'm literally just using a BlackWeb keyboard. You can buy these at Walmart. And on the left-hand side here, you can see there's 5 buttons there, G1 to G5, and those are my hotkeys. Those are the keys that I can actually program and I can control what to do with them. And then I've got my computer set up here where I can actually get into Questrade and I can make those trades instantly. Now realistically, you can use any trading software, any trading platform you want, but what you will need to do is get a list of the keyboard shortcuts for that trading software, because what's going to happen is we are going to program a series of these shortcuts into our hotkey, and that is what is going to allow us to actually use the hotkey to buy and sell these shares instantly. Now as you can see, I am using a BlackWeb gaming keyboard, but you can use any keyboard you want. It just has to have a couple of hotkeys on it that you can program. Now each one of your keyboards will come with a software. It will either be in the box, it will be linked in the user manual, or you can find it on Google. They're not hard to find. You just got to do a little bit of digging, but you will need that software in order to program your keyboard, and that's what we're going to dive into right now. Okay, so this is what the software looks like for my specific keyboard. As you can see, it's BlackWeb in the top there, and then you can see G1 to G5. So these are the specific buttons that we are going to program. Now it does have a little visual reference here, and as you can see, there's M1, M2, and M3. And so what this allows you to do is kind of create different options. So if I wanted to have 6 to 10 buttons or 11 to 15 buttons, I can then program into M2 and M3, and it will give me more and more buttons. I can also create different profiles, I believe up to 5 of them. So I can actually have like 15 times 5, 75 different hotkeys programmed into this computer, which is super good. But for me, I keep it simple. So my G1 is buy at market, my G2 is sell at market, and my G5 is cancel all of my orders. But what I want to do is we're going to program G4 so that I can show you exactly how to get in and out of your positions instantly. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on G4, and as you can see, we get the macro settings page that comes up. You need to go down to the bottom left side and click on new. This is going to bring you back up to the macro name, and you are going to hit buy to. That's going to be the title for this one. This is going to be my second test version of how to buy at market. And so what we're going to do is we're going to repeat the macro only once. We don't want it to continuously keep going. Okay, now this section here below is where we're actually going to program what goes into our hotkey. And so the idea here is that we are going to click on record, we're going to type in a series of buttons, and then we are going to hit stop recording, and we are going to program our hotkey to perform the action of that series of buttons. And so that is why you needed to get your little keyboard shortcut from your software. And so what we're going to do here is program this now, but the first thing we need to do is adjust some of the settings. So as you can see here up top, we have the delay. Now recorded delay means that if it takes you 3 seconds to type in 3 buttons, when you click on your hotkey, it's going to take 3 seconds to actually execute that order. The fixed delay to program a preset delay in between each button, and an ignore delay means that it's going to press those buttons as fast as computer possible. Now for us, we want to go very fast, but unfortunately, Questrade won't be able to pick up on our button presses if they are back to back and we ignore the delay. So what we are going to do is we're going to click on fixed delay, and we are going to do 100 milliseconds, and then we're going to hit start recording, and we are going to execute our actual trade through the programming software. So for me using Questrade, I'm going to hit start recording, and then I'm going to go with F4, enter, enter. And so as you can see, I'll hit stop recording here, and you can see here that it is automatically input 100 milliseconds in between every single keystroke. And that is going to allow Questrade to pick up on the fact that it's actually 2 different keystrokes instead of 1 being right back to back. And that is what's going to allow us to program our buttons and actually execute these trades. So the last thing we need to do now is hit on OK, and then we need to apply it to our keyboard. Now it is time to actually pull up our trading software and test this out and try and make a trade. Okay, so this is what Questrade looks like. As you can see, I've pulled up the Apple stock chart and we are looking at it on a 1 minute time frame. You can see the stock actually just bounced off this basically 115 level and it's already over 116. So we want to try and buy this right now. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to pull up my order entry and I'm also going to pull up my account. Now the account is going to show you that we actually get into the stock. And as you can see, I've closed 102 shares today. This is my practice account. So I'm just testing this out and I wanted to do that before I made the video. Now, here we go. I'm gonna type in Apple here. So now we are looking at the Apple stock. We are going to buy, let's say 200 shares. And let's set this to a limit. So that way, when we press G4, which we just programmed to buy the shares at market price, it is going to execute whatever quantity we have in here. It's going to change the order type to market. It is going to click on buy and it is going to click on enter and confirm that trade. And that should execute us into this trade almost instantly. So that is what we're going to do right now. All I'm going to do is click on G4, which is my hotkey that we just programmed. And we're going to see if we can actually get into this trade. Okay, here comes the finger press. Boom, look at that. As you can see, we just got into the trade, buy 200 Apple at market. And so that worked out absolutely beautiful. Okay, so we have now executed that trade. As you can see, when I go into my account here, we've got Apple, we've got an open quantity of 200. And if I press it again, let's just see what happens. Boom, we got another 200. So now our open quantity is 400. Now here's the tricky thing is now you have these hotkeys that are executing orders for you, so you have to be really, really careful with them, because if you accidentally tap on that, look at that, I just bought another 200 shares of Apple and it took, all it was a little bump. We currently own 800 shares of Apple right now and all we did was hit 2 little buttons. So we gotta be really, really careful with that on your keyboard. I have messed that up before and I have paid dearly for accidentally bumping my keyboard. So you need to be very careful when you're programming these hotkeys, and you need to be very careful when you're trading with hotkeys, because things can move very, very quickly. So in summary, that is how you program your hotkeys. You gotta find a keyboard that has the buttons, you gotta find the software, you got to program that sequence of events that you want that hotkey to represent, and then you got to go test it out, preferably in a practice account like what I just did. Don't do this in your real account, because if you mess it up and you buy too many shares or you short the stock, it can go really badly for you. And lastly, make sure you do not bump those buttons once you have programmed them. So that is all my advice. We will see you guys in the next video. Hope you learned something here.